a little context, back in August of 2017, I told the city council two things, one of which was they no longer had a viable policing function in Dallas, and that was very, very obvious. The second point I made at the time was largely academic, and I spoke of an inverse relationship between stress and performance. At the time, again, it was largely academic. At this point in time, it's come to fruition, and it's my contention that the Amber Geiger shooting, part of that, the components there were stress and fatigue. Now, by definition, today, and I told Mr. Roberts this, I work at Central, at the Central substation. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, this past Sunday, after the 7 a.m. detail, there was one officer available to answer calls, one. There were 4 in detail, 2 on the Katy bike trail, 1 at the station, and 1 officer available. That is obscene. So very quickly, and then I'll hand this back over to Mr. Roberts, I want to make a point of saying something because my chief, Walton, comes into detail when there's a handful of us, and he smiles and he says, any comments? And no one really has a comment to make because obviously we're closeted in that room. So let me make a comment right now to the chief and to the Dallas Police Department command staff. What are you going to say when you have another officer lose his or her life? You know that you're sending us out denuded in numbers, 1,000 officers short. And to make that point briefly, the city insists we have 3,000 officers. We just had a bid process. There are 1,235 officers available for patrol out of the 3,000. So it begs this question: where are the 1,765 other officers? Do we really intend to police the city of Dallas, 1.4 million people, with 1,235 officers? That's where we are. This is not an academic conversation. It's a conversation that has to do with life and death. It's not my narrative, it's really your narrative. And I'm very grateful that Mr. Roberts just decided to get involved. He's not making any friends doing this, but he knows the value that we place on human life. Obviously, Mayor Rollins does not. And then lastly, my conversation has national implications in that every city in this country run by liberal progressives has done this to the policing function.